And this segment is called Ask a Doc. We are here with Dr. Donald Fowler, orthopedic for OrthoAtlanta. What's going on, Doc?
Hey, good to be here. Sorry I missed last week.
Hey, man, we know you taking care of business, man. You saving lives and everything else. So
careers,
right? That's why I say you
trying,
saving lives.
Trying. Yeah.
Man, first, it's Super Bowl week. Everybody's buzzed about that. Well, I guess everybody in Atlanta because New Orleans is not coming. But but real quick before we get into everything, just your quick analysis on Gronk. I mean, do you think he's hurt? And he stepped up big last week, but this is not the Gronk we're used to seeing.
No, and I don't know if it's really as much him being hurt as truly just time catching up with him, to be honest. I mean, he doesn't have the same kind of burst or speed. I mean, he still has that strength, he still has that physicality, but I don't think he really has the same kind of separation that he used to have in his younger year.
Do you think that's because of injury, though? Because
I mean, I think they're catching up to him, but I think a lot of his age where he's just not bouncing back like he would have 5 years ago.
Because he's young, though, right?
Yeah, but like he's saying, you got to think of Gronk, right? Running over people, getting hit in the legs.
Yeah. This is year 8 for Gronk.
And he always gets hit in the legs. Think about when people go for him. They're going for his legs. And now when you seeing him running, right, he's running at I think half the speed he used to run at, right?
Right.
Even with
he's got that. I don't know what that is. That giant thing on his arm.
Yeah,
it looks like
elbow,
a robot arm.
Yeah, the forearm that he had several surgeries on.
And think about that touchdown, right, where he was playing the kind of the safety, right? Look at him running. That did not look like.
That's why.
It looks like a struggle.
Yeah, it looked like it hurts to run almost, right?
That's why I asked. But yeah, so I just wanted your opinion. That's exactly why I asked.
I could see him easily not coming back.
Yeah, he might not. It's just
quality of life, right?
You don't look right.
Yeah,
so.
I mean it's not to the degree of someone like Antonio Gates that is still somehow out there. But
Antonio Gates looks like he running 0.1 miles per hour.
But he 102. He 102 compared to Gronk, right?
Yeah. Right. So that's why I asked. But I just wanted to know. Now, Victor Oladipo, we saw that gruesome injury with the ruptured quad tendon. Is it as bad as far as his comeback? Because you look at that, it's a wrap. Will he ever play again? I mean, you automatically think that, but how soon can he be back?
Yeah, I mean, what's really unique, and if you go on, you can read a lot about it, but the quad injuries, they usually happen in older people over 40 years old. If you're going to tear something in that front or extensor mechanism of your knee and you're young, it's usually the patellar tendon right below the kneecap, not the quad tendon right above the kneecap. So it's pretty rare seeing quad injuries in most professional sports because most guys are in their 20s and 30s. Most of the guys have had it. Guys like Charles Barkley was later in their careers, so there's not really a good blueprint of people coming back from quad tears. Now, I think he will be back. He has youth and healing on his side, but it is a devastating injury. It's worse than an ACL. It's probably. I mean, you got to think that's a big tendon that controls your whole quad, 4 muscles that come down to your knee. So it is really hard to rehab and build the muscle back to the same strength that it was before the injury. So it'll be a full year, I would say, before he's really back. And again, I think he will be back, but it's such a crazy, unique thing. Even patellar tendons that you see more often, those don't have a good track record either. Some of the people I think recently, not as much in basketball, but like football, you had Victor Cruz, who was never the same. You had Francois, the Florida State quarterback, most recently, who, maybe not as mobile, throwing the ball more, but it's any kind of extensor in the front of the knee injury, whether it's quad, patellar tendon, it's a bad injury to come back from.
To hear that worse than an ACL, that instantly makes you just think about it differently, right?
Yeah,
when you first hear, you're like, okay, quad, he'll be back. But then when you hear worse than an ACL, you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's like.
Oh, worse than an ACL. Because ACL, Achilles, you're like, worse injury.
Yeah.
To hear that,
and I'd put it on point more with an Achilles than an ACL. So tough injury. Hated to see it.
Now, one of the stars we do want to talk about is Jimmy Butler and, his wrist injury and everything like that. How do you feel about that, and going forward, how would it affect the team? Not only him, but the team.
Yeah, they haven't said much on it. He's missed the last couple games, and some people are saying, well, if it's just a sprain, why is he going all the way out to California for a second opinion? I'm assuming he's seeing the guys at Curl and Job who see a lot of the pro athletes out there in L.A., but they're going out on a West Coast trip anyway, so that's kind of people are saying, well, they're going to be out west, and most are still predicting that he's going to rejoin the team at some point during that 4-game road trip. So they're making it out to seem more precautionary, just kind of being subtle. Although, I mean, you see these things, and it might be a segue in a few minutes, but I kind of almost feel in the same sense they kind of talked about when LeBron James injured his groin. It was like, oh, it's a minor thing. MRI was pretty clean, and yet he's still not back playing.
Right.
So I think it's something to keep an eye on. But right now they're kind of minimizing the severity of it.
And just to let you know who we're talking to, as he mentioned, he out west, he's talking to, what he said, Curly and Joe, like he just got done talking to him before he came on the show. See, that's the type of people we have on the show, just letting y'all know that. But anyway, and you're right, it was a great segue because when is this man LeBron James coming back?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
do you think it's more if they just want to make sure he's 100%, like, or is it just?
I mean, I think so. I think the last time I was on 2 weeks ago, we were expecting he was day to day. He was going to be back anytime, and yet here we are. He still hasn't played. So, I mean, I think LeBron James obviously gets treated differently, and certainly if you're going to be cautious with anyone, it's going to be him. But this is the longest stretch he's missed now in his career with an injury. I guess some of the stuff I've said is, they're allowing some of the younger guys to run a little bit more and just give them a chance to play and just not rush him back. I think if it was playoffs or something like that he would probably potentially be out there at this point, but they're just trying to look for the long haul. So I would imagine he's going to be back in the next week or so, but again, we thought that 2 weeks ago, and we're still here.
And we're, 2 weeks away from the All-Star, 3 weeks away from the All-Star game?
Now, if he pulls...
I think that's what's going to happen.
If he pulls a Penny Hardaway, I don't know if y'all remember Penny Hardaway. I think LeBron plays after that, but remember, was it 94, 95, one of those, and he was and he played, and he was out for the whole first part of the season. I think he only played 15 games, something like that. And then when the All-Star came, he was voted starter, and he played starting the All-Star game. And then after the All-Star game, he only played 10 games after that. It was like. Yeah. So, but I doubt LeBron is going to sit out the second half of the season. So, like you said, they might just be waiting.
Yeah, I think it's precautionary. Again, from what they said on the MRI scan, there was no major damage, but certainly they don't want to rush him back and have this be something that lingers. It's just we all expected him to be back sooner. So
right,
and that's what it is, right? Like he's in his 15th, 16th year. It's a groin injury. You can rest him now or put him in too early, and then becomes a worse injury than it was initially. I think that's one of the bigger things. Now, about Duke's point guard, Trey Jones. He's been out for a few games with a shoulder injury. How soon do you think he can return?
Yeah, so they're saying he's probable for today. Kind of when it first happened, it looked really bad. You thought maybe fractured clavicle, the way he was kind of holding his arm. Fortunately, it was just a AC separation or sprain, and a low-grade one from my contacts at Duke. Which I do still have. So he's apparently, you can read the reports, and even Coach K is saying he's doing better and better. He probably could even play this past week, but again, they're just trying to be smart. So I'd probably look for him to potentially play today. For some reason not by the next game on Monday against Notre Dame, but I think everyone loves to talk about Zion, obviously, and RJ Barrett, who might even be the better NBA player one day, but their offense really goes through Trey Jones, not only with handling the ball, but the pressure defense he applies at the point. So they definitely need him back and healthy to make a run, no matter how much talent they have on the team.
And I kind of want to ask a small question, kind of off, not really off topic, but with all the NBA players, as much as they rest them, we see Kawhi getting rested a lot, even though he's not really injured, right? the impact of old school games where everybody played 82 games, things like that. Do you think it's because of the way the NBA has changed and the players and like how does it compare to the rest that they do now as opposed that they did back in the day?
Yeah, you're saying at the NBA level.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just our knowledge of injuries and body parts and healing is so much better that people just have more foresight now to try to preserve players, be smart, and extend careers longer, whereas, back before, you didn't have the science, you didn't have the data or the research. You were just, out there, and if you weren't playing, you were kind of looked at as, being soft. So I think the whole culture has changed as medicine has advanced. We have all these new treatment modalities and things and cryotherapy and stem cells and everything under the sun to try to keep the body going longer. And so I think it's kind of just the world we're going to live in going forward.
So real quick, that was very interesting that you asked that because like you answered, because you know how the body heals and everything. But do you think with a Michael Jordan, those type of players yesteryear, do you think that they would allow that though? They would want to?
Yeah.
How could they? I mean, because I understand.
Yeah.
But you talking about Warriors who play hurt, which, like you said, now extends your career, which it might change now. Think about it because more money's involved now. Where back then, you played for the money. You got good money back then. Of course, that was great money back then. But it was more of still, I want to win. It was a championship.
Of course.
So
yeah, no, it was a different era. I can't see any of those guys, certainly at the time, even with that knowledge, wanting to sit, whether it be Jordan, Pippen, Bird, Magic, those guys on the Pistons. I mean, there's no way they'd be sitting if they couldn't be out there.
Yeah.
So I think, again, it's just the overall mindset and the culture of the league today. So,
well, all right. There we have it. My man, Dr. Donald Fowler, the third. The third, yeah, from the orthopedic from OrthoAtlanta. Make sure you follow them. And I think the intellectual was saying that he knows someone is going up there now, has a torn ACL, and so
doing good. The work is excellent. The training, the rehab is working.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Definitely.
Right. So and he didn't pay us to say that. So but anyway, we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back.